distinguished panel of experts, or as Jordan said, maybe no one's an expert, but they are well-versed in their field. But I'm going to just ask everybody to tell us your story. So, Ronnie, get us started. Tell us your story and background. How did you get here?
I would start first. My name is Ronnie Russell, retired military. I did 22 years and 2 months. Give me all of my time. You know, some people say, oh, I did 20 years. Like, what was the months? 22 years, 2 months. I was infantry the entire time. So what I did in uniform is nowhere close to what I do now out of uniform. Definitely a community advocate as well as a community architect. Retired out of Fort Hood. And my son's in the Air Force. He's been in the Air Force for 6 years, and he definitely took the scenic route to get there.
Hi, my name's John Ciaburri. I'm the owner of Ciaburri brand here in Belton. We do web design, logo design, branding, help small businesses kind of start and grow. You know, we like to build their brands, and we have a lot of businesses too that have been in business for a long time, and we try to fine tune their look, their brand, their marketing, their online presence. I'm originally from El Paso. Started working in the field I went to school about 30 years ago at TSTC and learned commercial art and advertising, and always loved it. Been real fortunate to work in the field ever since I graduated. Bounced around Central Texas, Dallas, Austin, and 7 years ago I decided to start my own branding business. I felt there was a lack of that in this area. There was advertising and creative and all these other things and marketing, but there wasn't a strong branding business to help small businesses especially. So that's kind of, I guess, my calling is to help small businesses stand out and hopefully grow and create a better community.
Hi, I'm Mindy Welch. I'm a professor at the University of Hardin-Baylor. I've been there for, probably almost 15 years. I teach marketing and management. I love working with small businesses. I think it's the greatest thing. Before I came into academia, though, I was in the advertising industry for about 7 years in corporate advertising and ad agency advertising as well. So I've seen things from both the client and the agency side. And I've had the joy of working with John in that, and he comes and speaks to my classes, and that's wonderful. Give him some real-world experience. We also do a lot of service learning projects, so I might be talking to a few of you if you guys want to do some partnering with research and marketing strategies. So, but yeah, that's me.
Great. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of different perspective on all this. We've got a builder architect. I love the community architect language that Ronnie uses in terms of helping other businesses. That is his business. He's wearing the hat for branding and of course from academia and how are we teaching our students and helping them go forward. So we're just going to jump right into it. I want to ask you all to provide whatever practical tips you have to help a business distinguish themselves. And I'll just go ahead, John, you get us started because you use branding. So talk to us about marketing and branding and how does a business distinguish themselves?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm definitely going to start with branding. I feel like your image is very important to stand out, like creating a strong image because you want to stand out, and there's a lot of confusion, and the clearer your message can be, the clearer your brand can be. And when I talk about brand, it's basically your logo design, your color palette, your messaging, your fonts. I mean, it's everything. It's your look. It's how it's consistent. It's how everything, from your website to your social media profiles to your advertising, your marketing, how it all kind of works together and has a very clear message that does not create confusion. So that's kind of what I specialize in. I love the art of it. I love logo design. I love creating. And I just feel like a strong brand is going to help a business succeed for sure.
So I have to agree with John. Of course, a strong brand. I loved what the previous panel said about value proposition. That was definitely a win for me. As soon as you said it, my heart melted. I was very excited because if you don't know your value that you're bringing in what you're solving for your customers, then that's going to be the struggle, right? You have to know what you're solving. And then telling them how you're going to partner with them and solve those problems. So I thank you for that. And of course, the branding piece I think is huge, ties into the value proposition, but also I think just being able to tell your story and have other people repeat your story. That's a key factor. If you can say what you're about and then people can repeat that to others, that's a win.
So, logos, that's my biggest pet peeve, and I see it a lot, and it's frustrating. You have business owners who have a business but do not have a logo. You have business owners who have a logo, and they say their logo is their business card. You have business owners who have a logo but don't know what files that they need to have their logo in order for it to do certain things. If you don't have a logo in PNG file, you're wrong. If you don't have a logo in PDF file, you're wrong. If you don't have a logo in a PNG transparent file, you're wrong. If you don't have a logo in an SGV file, which is a vector file, you're wrong. So if you didn't write down anything I just said, I need you to get it right for you because it's going to actually help you out tomorrow. But you have people that want to print things and they send it to the print and it's pixelated because they don't know what file to send them in. So then you have flyers and stuff that looks like, this is not messed up, I'm just saying. This is good. Then you have flyers that you want to pass out to people that you want to come to your event, and the optics from the beginning is can I be myself?
Yes.
The optics from the beginning is trash. That's because you didn't know what to actually use wisely.
All right, so we're getting practical here, and that's what this is about, right? We're going to get real and get real practical. So I want to use that to go forward to what obstacles have you personally experienced or experienced helping others to overcome? Ronnie's already kind of hit on, you don't know how to even send me your logo, but talk to us about the barriers, fears, hurdles that you have personally experienced. John, you've had to set up your own business and help other people.
Yeah, so I think my struggle is getting over the fear. Just like, I went from a job, getting a paycheck and barely making ends meet and, going through a lot of personal situations and no savings. And so for me, that was like my struggle. And I've heard the same struggle from other businesses though. Like I've worked with successful people that want to go out on their own, but they're still afraid. And so that's the hardest part. Kind of like Mia says, get over the fear. That was my struggle. And then once I did that, I developed my brand like right away, created my social profiles, all that stuff that goes with it. But then I sat there one day and I didn't have any clients. I didn't have anything. And so my girlfriend at the time, now wife, she's like, why are you going to work at 8 a.m. when you're not doing anything? I said, well, I know it's going to come. It's going to happen. I'm going to get it. And I got that first call, and it was for 3 Texans to design their logo for their winery. And I got that call, did it, and my business took off. I started from a co-working desk, $200 a month, whatever. I didn't, luckily in my field, I didn't really need a loan or anything like that. I just needed a computer and myself, I guess. And then I just kind of, over the years, just kept moving up, getting more clients, people seeing my work. So now, to me, the hard part now is what's the next step? What's my growth? What do I need to do? Do I want this business to run without me? It's a family business. I have my kids working for me. I've used interns. That was my biggest thing is I got an intern right away because that really helped me, kind of made up for some of the things that I was lacking. And so now that's my fear is how do I structure my business to grow? But so get over the fear first.
Oh, wow. Okay, so some of the challenges that I have seen personally, not only in helping small businesses, but also my students when they go and they intern for wonderful people. Then probably they are unsure how to communicate honestly in their marketing. I've seen them inundated. This is probably the biggest one where I've seen people inundated with, as soon as they join the chamber, they get all of these like programs sent to them, advertise here, advertise there, and they don't know, they have a certain budget and they don't know what to pick through and what to do. So knowing your target audience is a big part of that. The other one would be, because where they are, right? And so the other one would be that they're having a struggle is going to be, well, I only have so much money set aside for marketing, but I have people tell me I have to do this and I have to do that. Start small. Just start small. It's okay not to make this huge splash, and try to use as many free resources as possible.
So for me, it's like people have a fear of starting. And sometimes we put the cart before the horse. We talk about I have a fear of failure, but you really have a fear of starting. And when you understand that the start is the start point, it's just like, us, we're all military. It's just like going from your SP to your RP. You will never get to the RP without leaving the SP. So knowing what you're going to start, knowing how you're going to actually do it, and knowing that the destination has the journey attached to it, you will never get there if you don't know, one, how am I going to begin? Where am I going to begin? What tools do I need to use? Who's on my left and who's on my right that can help me out? So get past the fear of starting, because you will never actually complete anything if you don't start it from the beginning.
Yeah, great suggestion. I want to dig a little deeper, and Ronnie, I think your emphasis on start, go is right on, but I want to tie that back to what Mindy was talking about cost. One of the things that we often hear people say is, I can't afford to do the marketing that my competitors do. I can't afford to, my budget startup particularly, or to take my business to the next level. I don't have that kind of money. Can y'all talk to us a little bit about what's a reasonable budget? What's a reasonable, and I'll go back to Ronnie, you got to get started, right? But what's realistic should I be planning for without just hamstringing my business because I don't want to spend anything? And John, I'll add one little aspect to that. I know people say, oh yeah, I want a great logo, but I can do it myself and it'll be just good enough. Well, what's the cost-benefit analysis in terms of letting my consultants and getting some help with that? Okay, that's all over the place. Y'all talk about costs and how much we should be spending and how we discern that for our businesses.
You want me to go ahead and talk about costs? Okay. So there's different models you can use, all right? So there's some people that take a percentage of their sales, right? And then they set that aside for marketing. And you're like, well, I just opened, maybe you have some money set aside in your loan for some advertising, some marketing. It's basically going to depend on a lot of things, like your network, on how much value we can get out of complimentary marketing, like having a friend of yours announce that your business just opened. I know you mentioned that you went into your network. Absolutely, from the previous panel, that's a great way to start. That doesn't cost a lot. Now, I always say there's always a cost with it because it's your time. It is your time, and you have to invest in those relationships in that time. So there is always a cost because it's taking you away from doing other things as well. So those are some things that you kind of have to set aside. I've looked at many budgets where I've sat down and I've thought, we could cut a little here, we could cut a little there. But I always start off with one question. What is your goal with this, right? Because a lot of people come to me, I've done a lot of consulting in social media and SEO. John and I have worked on many outside projects together because he does amazing websites, plug there. And so, but one of the things that we've looked at together is we've said, okay, where are you wanting to actually go with this? And what's the end game do you see? And if people say, oh, I just want more followers, well, no, you want quality followers. You want followers that believe what you believe and that will engage with your content and become loyal and buy. So we have to look at that end game and say, okay, this is where we are and this is where we're going. How do we get there? And that looks different, honestly, for everyone financially, but that's usually where we start. That's usually where we start.
I like that. That was good. Affordable marketing. Now you can use that. That is a way, especially when you're talking about taking your sales and stuff like that. But you have startup costs. It's going to really come out of your startup costs. Logos now, like you have, and I was mentioning it to the gentleman over here. You have pre-COVID operation. You have post-COVID operation. Pre-COVID operations was I need to find someone to create my logo and wait for 2 weeks or a month for them to send it to me. Post-COVID, there are so many other platforms that are out there now where you can expedite your own process of getting those logos done and even getting it vectored or vector sketched in order for you to use it in the way that you want to. Now, the other affordable marketing is knowing what platforms to use that will benefit you the most, like Canva. Canva's a platform, it's free, but it's really a pay to play. You get more when you pay more. And going into Facebook, IG, Google, like you can start with a basic ad and put $5 in that ad and see what that $5 is going to do because you have your cold marketing. But then when you put $5 into it, it's going to expand into that market base that you're trying to get to because you want to make that algorithm a lot warmer than what it was for the person who never knew anything about you. So you want to develop that. So start small, test the market, and put it out there. They will never know anything about you if you never started to put it out there in the market to begin with.
Well, I'll speak from experience. My marketing budget was like $600, and so I joined the two chambers. Like I put myself out there, I networked. Like honestly, like I probably wouldn't be here right now if I didn't have a relationship that I created with the chamber. So I felt like that was huge for me. Like just go to the networking events, meet people, shake hands, all that stuff. And then my next step for me was I'd throw a little bit to like Facebook ads or something. I'm a little different because I already knew the tools. I already had my website. I was able to build it. I feel like local SEO is very important. I think it's getting undervalued because, right now learning how to optimize your website for AI search and large language models, things like that. That's important, and it's really not that hard. You just gotta do it right. And whether you use a professional like myself or you watch some YouTube videos and Google it, just making sure everything's done correctly, and it'll go a long way. So I don't feel like you need to spend a lot of money. You can use some of these platforms that he's mentioned. You can ask a professional if you do have the budget. I like to think that we can provide something that stands out over a lot of those services that is about you, it's about your customer, it's about your messaging. It's things that maybe people don't think about, and we can help you, and other branding, graphic design agencies can do as well.
So I appreciate your shout out for Chambers as a chamber guy, but I want to use that to talk some about how collaborative. Our title says how to market through collaboration. What suggestions do you have for how we can work together with others? We heard Sabrina mention some of this earlier, but how else can we work with others to collaborate for our marketing so that's beneficial to us as a business?
It's done through collaborative events like this. So at the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce, one of the things that we did and we noticed, and I was talking with the Waco Hispanic Chamber vice president over there. One, I intentionally make relationships, like 100%. I will get on the road and I will come intentionally into your office. Sometimes it's just off the cuff. Like I'll show up at random, hey, I didn't want anything, I'm just coming to check on you. Like I do that. Because without those relationships, there will be no collaborative efforts at all. There will be no co-branding efforts at all. Like when we created the President's Luncheon, is because I wanted to meet and have relationships with the presidents of the chambers of commerce in this area. And now we're about to have the second one, and now there's 30 chamber presidents that are coming to this because we have to have relationships in order for us to have any collaborative effort.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that, Ronnie. That's a little inside scoop. Even chambers of commerce need to work together and collaborate with each other, and you'll see we're better together when we work together. So how else can we collaborate? John, you mentioned joining chambers, and Mindy, I'd love to, what you're hearing from your students or teaching your students.
Yeah, I like to be involved with the universities, the high schoolers, all that. Like, I try to, go speak to classes, give tours. When it comes to collaborating with other businesses, like I tend to more collaborate with my weaknesses, I guess. So like we don't offer any video type work, so I like to collaborate with other people in my industry that are strong in video, for instance. I like to collaborate with my clients. If they, I work for a roofer and they need some sponsors or want me to shout them out, like, I'll do all that stuff just to kind of help each other. I think my clients are like I guess like creating like champions of my brand too. Like I building relationships and having people out there that can kind of, speak good on me, I guess, helps. And it's like that for all my clients too. Like they all create those types of relationships.
One of the things that I've seen small businesses do also, I was saying you're going to be inundated with all those things where it's like market here, market there. We want you to sponsor this. One of the best things you can do, you're in your community, invest in your community. Go ahead and invest in sponsoring that Little League team or being involved with the high school. Go ahead and place an ad. But if you place an ad, make sure you show up too. I think that that's also really important. I've seen where businesses are like, oh, well, this is not profitable for me because I didn't get anything back. I didn't get any business. It's just one of those money-making things for the kids. And it's like, yeah, but if you show up and you're involved and you hand out business cards or talk to the parents or anything like that in the community and you show up in the community, that's where those relationships happen.
Yeah, like I'll see so I'm not on Bays in Bell County, but my wife is, and she'll see like she'll see like people post like, yeah, looking for a web designer or whatever, and they'll say, oh, Ciaburri brand, use them, and then comment, yeah, they invest in the community, they sponsored the Lake Belton band or whatever, and so sometimes it's hard to write that check, but I do see it paying off. For me, and I see it for my clients. I see a lot of my clients, they sponsor everything, and it really pays off, So what I do is I just set a budget now, like, whatever, $5,000 for the year, and I divvy it up beyond sponsors, and I know I'm doing something giving back, and I feel better, and hopefully, maybe it does correlate to more business.
So one of the great differences between the big corporations and the small businesses that run our state and our country is we invest locally, right? That's what makes a difference, and that's why we need to be helping each other. I just want to say here, that inside secret, if you haven't learned showing up for somebody's kid, they'll love you forever, right? You show up for my kid, you do something for my kid, you put a t-shirt on them so they can go play ball, I'm loyal to you because you took care of my kid. Right, that's hard to beat, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to caveat off of that, and I'm glad you opened it. And I'm learning this for myself. So when it comes to community events, community organizations, and stuff like that, the question that you have to ask yourself, because a lot of times we have businesses that want to say, oh, I want to meet so and so. Oh, I want to do business with so and so, but no one knows you, no one. So the question now that I would say, think about this and going forward. Are you willing to go and to show up for somebody else, even if it doesn't have anything to do with you? I think that's where you would begin to find the sweet spot. Like he said, with his children, grandchildren, whatever it is, Can you show up for the kids even when it has nothing to do about your business? That's that's where it becomes personal. People begin to ask you, oh, how can I help? What can I do for you? Because you showed up for somebody else when it wasn't about your food truck, or it wasn't about your branding agency, or it wasn't about the school. You showed up, and it will change the next time they see you. They might smile the next time.
Again, this is about developing relationships, right? And we can talk about marketing, and they can bring us the TV ads or whatever the marketing pitch is. It's about building relationships with our customers, right? And therefore developing relationships with our partners. I want to shift us before we get too far down this road. AI is the thing, right? So how has AI changed marketing for small business, and what opportunities are there for us in the AI world? Ronnie, I'm going to let you go. This is your thing.
Yeah. So we've been teaching AI for 2 years. Because ChatGPT, OpenAI is really the real name for it. So it's not called ChatGPT. It's called OpenAI. When OpenAI launched in 22, it just changed everything. And I want to walk you down this path real quick. We started in the analog era. Analog. We went from analog and we went to digital. We went from digital and then we transitioned into technology. You got people say, oh, I don't know technology. You went from technology and then you went into innovation. You went from innovation and we transitioned into AI. We're going to leave AI again and go back into innovation because the innovation is going to be the parent of all things. That's why it's IoT, Internet of Things. AI now, from a marketing perspective, is going to even the playing field for those who don't know, didn't know, and did not care to know. Because you're having large marketing agencies or large businesses that are trying to figure out how to capture the audience and capture that market to where AI is now going to tell you who your avatar is. It's going to tell you how to reach out to your avatar. It's going to tell you how to engage them and also give you the direction and how to capture them to a highly converted marketing campaign. So one, do the research, figure out what platform is going to work for you, whether it is ChatGPT, or it's Claude, or it's Perplexity, or it's Gemini, or it's Copilot, like whatever it is, one of them is going to work for you, but make sure that you train it. Just like he was saying before, he talked about SEO. SEO has transitioned so fast into AEO. AEO is the answer engine optimization. Because if you've noticed, these platforms have begun to transition into developing their own search engine. Because OpenAI has to buy data from somewhere else because they don't own their search engine. Google owns their search engine. They've been collecting data for years. That's why Gemini is so strong, because they're pulling data that they already own. Copilot is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft has their own search engine that they've been using the data for so long. That's why those two platforms are strong, because they own their data, not the data center. That's where the AWS come from. But I'll go down that rabbit hole. But
okay, you just threw out so many acronyms and just blew everybody's minds, right? John, and Mindy, I want you to get there. But John, before we get there, what are the dangers of AI in what you've seen in your work with people working on branding and website design? And
I'm torn on the subject. Like, I think it's a good tool for sure for everybody, especially small businesses without a budget. I personally don't use it for like graphics and things like that yet, but I do. It does help me with I can plan things, roadmap things. It helps me with SEO. So it's definitely a good tool. I try to pride myself on, trying to understand the customer, and I don't know, hopefully create a little bit more emotion, things like that, than you might get from AI. But that's just me.
Well, first of all, you can't copyright it. I have to throw that in. So there are, so I mean, I could talk for a full hour on AI. I know you guys don't want me to do that, probably. But no, it's a great tool. I love it. I use it every day. I teach a class on content marketing and AI. It's a graduate class. If you guys want to take it, you can. It's being offered this summer. But there are some good things. I really studied the algorithm when it comes to Google and SEO. I've kind of done a deep dive into the algorithm in Facebook and Instagram, and then on top of that, TikTok. There are some definitely pros and there's definitely cons. There's a plethora of AI slop out there, which it's making money. So, but it's a ton out there that we're looking at this AI creation of content that honestly, is it helpful? Does it give me ideas? Yeah. Like I said, I use it every day. But I'm very cautious about what I put out there, that I'm in the tone of my audience, that I edit it, because honestly, when you start looking at the Google Analytics, they're starting to see a push down of AI cadence of words. So it actually pushes down your content, right? So what's going to engage my audience? And yes, please use it to fill out a content calendar of ideas, but then go write and shoot your stuff for your audience. Because right now, that's still human authenticity, especially small business. It's going to win over major corporations. But yeah, no, I use it every day. It's great, and I can't wait to see where it goes. It was kind of weird. Not that long ago, I actually had it spit my own words back at me because we're feeding the system and we're training it. And it took some of my research that I put out there like previously and spit my own words back to me. And I was like, ooh, that's a little creepy. And so, but that's just one of those things where it's like, okay, it's once again, training and getting smarter, but in a small business setting, in my expert opinion, I was gonna say humble opinion, but nah, we'll go expert. It's one of those things where you are your voice and it needs to shine. And AI can't replace that.
Yeah, so like what Mindy was saying about websites, like, so I have a ton of websites, and I can tell, like, there's some that maybe had a small budget and some of the content is written a little bit more with AI and somewhat rewritten, whatever, and some that are purely custom. And the ones that are, that are written by me and the owner and my team, and the traffic's like way stronger for sure. Like, I see the analytics, and the ones written in AI just don't get the impressions and the clicks.
So with that, we have to understand there's always a human aspect. Again, AI is a tool. That's all it is. It is a tool that you can go into your toolbox and try to figure things out to either fix or to heal where you're hurting because, I don't know social media. Use it for that type stuff. Just like building websites. You can go to Lovable. You use Lovable to create you a website and also can create you an app. Now, what that is going to do now, again, when they're stating as far as AI-generated content, meaning the word, the ad copy. Now, you take that as a basis. Again, it's a tool. And then you take that tool and then you put it into another document and then you humanize that document and then you take it back, add in your special hashtags, whatever it is, and then that's what changed the tone. AI is going to hallucinate. Do not allow that hallucination to allow someone to know you don't know what you're talking about as soon as you put that information out there.
So the key thing is we just got to get started, right? And don't be afraid of it. So I'm going to go back to that. We're going to quickly run out of time with my questions. So I'm going to pause here and open this up to the crowd and see if there's anybody want to venture a question out to these folks? Right behind you, Brian. Right behind you. Or whichever way you want to go.
Hi, okay. So I heard a lot of different, like you guys were mentioning about so many different platforms that you can use. What are 3 really good marketing AI platforms or software apps, anything that you would suggest for small businesses to help with some of the things you were talking about?
So you have, well, one, yeah, I'll say Canva. Canva has so many different integrations than it did when it first started. You can vectorize your logo on Canva. You can do the voiceovers on Canva. When you pay for it, you can remove the backgrounds of images on Canva. The other one would be Creatify. Creatify is another platform that you can use as far as marketing goes. What's the other one called? I forgot the third one, but I know it.
I'm gonna jump in and give him a third one. I love CapCut for video. So using CapCut for video is honestly, I love the suggestions it gives me. Whenever I'm shooting something very quickly and then I have to post it, I'm a big fan of that one. It automatically integrates with all my systems and you can load it in. So
Great question. Where do you start? I love that. For my purpose, I'd say if you're not on Canva, go use it. It's the most user-friendly, easy thing. It'll make you look smart. Another question.
So marketing is a very broad term. It has a lot under that umbrella. What would you say for small businesses moves the needle the most in marketing?
Messaging. Understand your message and how you deliver your message and what message are you delivering to that particular client. Just understand that message.
You got anything to add?
I mean, I'm still kind of. I feel like having a strong Google My Business. If you're a local business, especially strong Google My Business, post to it, make sure everything's set up properly. I think those are important. I've noticed so marketing ad wise, you got Facebook ads, Google ads, whatever. I've seen good success with service ads, so Google service ads, things that maybe don't. You can set a budget of say $75 per lead, and you're not paying per click, you're paying per message or call, which is better. So that's more of the traditional way, but I found good success in that. Like the clients that are successful have strong local SEO, and so you want to have content for the city you're trying to that you're working in, basically.
So because marketing is so broad, I'm just going to say it kind of depends on your direction. Like if you're sales, ask for the sale, right? That's going to move the needle the most, right? So when we look at webs, we set up our conversions, and then measure that. That's going to be the most appropriate way. The other, of course, knowing your message, knowing your target audience, all of those things play into it. But really success is really defined by, are you business to business? Are you... it's just kind of different for everyone, and I know that is kind of a lame way of saying well, it just depends. But I do have to say, one of the small business mistakes that I have seen quite often whenever we go in as a class and we'll go work with a company, it's been a long time since they updated their website. And once again, I've studied all these algorithms. I'm way too nerdy to I admit that fully. And if you haven't updated your Google My Business to have your hours on it, to have your more content, that you're replying to every review, whether it's positive or negative, as a small business, please do that. Those things, that investment in touching those customers, that touch point, so important. Update your website with new things. I would say at least once a month. Something, change a spelling error or something. Just one thing a month. That's going to really move the needle on the algorithms.
There's some great suggestions. Thank you. Good question. Got another one in the back here?
Yes, just a quick question. Assuming you have the same budget, let's say $1,000 a month, which platform gives you the best ROI from your experience? And it can be very general. I know it can be very specific, but just generalized.
There you go. It depends is the answer, but
Yeah.
what are you going to say?
It really depends up to what your target is, because you might just be great on LinkedIn. You don't need to be on Facebook if LinkedIn is where your customer base is. So it really depends on you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and I do have to say, it's one of those things where whenever you're looking at your audience, you're thinking, yes, it depends. But if you have $1,000, once again, in my opinion, if you're investing it in the community in some way, if you are giving back to that little league and showing up, if you are out there being the face of your organization, I don't think you can ever go wrong with that.
If you have a good brand, right, John? You got anything you want to add to that?
I don't know. I think it all works together. You know, it depends what you're trying to target. I know a lot of this is based on my experience with my clients, and I do a lot of local service clients, a ton, and all that. They all support the community. They all, run some kind of Google ad or Facebook ad, and they all have strong websites. You know, all that's important. So I would just kind of spread out your money to get started, and then measure your results and see what's working for you. Like if you notice like you're getting a ton of leads from Google, then maybe put more money into that, scale back on a few other things. If you notice that people are like, oh, I gotta work with this guy, I gotta work with him because he's doing all these things, I see him everywhere, then dedicate more time to doing that. So it's a lot of it is feel, but it's all based on knowing your numbers, knowing where your customers are coming from, and then pivoting to that way.
Great, thank you.
We have time for one more question.
One more in the back.
Question is, how do you market in an oversaturated market? Is there any tips and tricks that you can set yourself apart from everybody else, which a lot of people do the same thing?
I feel like it's kind of been said earlier, is people want to know your story, who you are, and maybe they relate to you a little bit better. They know you're a veteran. They know you're you've been through something, and you're able to persevere over it. And I think to me that's important. That's what makes you stand out. Your messaging. I think it's also your visual identity, and I think that's what separates you. It's a crappy logo versus a good logo because they take pride in, they've invested in their business. They've got a professional image. So that's all important. But it also depends on who you're targeting as well.
Tell your story. Stay in your own lane. Tell your story. Your market is different from the person to your left and to your right. And get testimonials, because those testimonials are going to speak for you when you're no longer around. That's going to be how you're going to intercede. They're going to intercede for you to pull somebody else in to find your next client. So those testimonials are important.
And I do have to note, I also believe that the very first exercise you should do in an oversaturated market is make a list of how you're different. And really, because if everyone's offering the same thing and they can get it anywhere, how are you different? And start by thinking, how can I put that in my message? How can I infuse that into my website? And you write down all those things on how you're different, and that makes you unique in you.
Great question. Thank you for that. We've got a minute. Any last words of advice, best practice, final tip you want to add?
I'll just say, just real quick, I know marketing can be so complicated, and it's overwhelming, especially for a small business owner. And I'm just going to go and plug UMHB right here. And if you guys ever want to partner with any of our students, we do classroom exercises. I have my colleagues here that they do entrepreneurship classes, they do management classes. We're all in purple, so just grab one of us, and we'll be happy from the college business to help you out. So give our students some opportunities for real life experience.
That's a great resource that's untapped.
My best marketing is the community, the people, clients, people I meet that like I said, kind of trust me. And so building that trust with people can go a long way as well.
Connect with your local chamber. There's plenty of resources within there, whether you're talking with member to member, peer to peer, whatever it is. Those relationships and connections are going to help you in the long run. Personally, from the Innovation Black Chamber of Commerce, like in Killeen, there's no longer a BRC. We've already developed a BSC because businesses need services, not just resources. I can hand this to you and say I've given you a resource, but the services is what we need, more local now. As well as the AI stuff. Again, we've been doing that, and our conference that's coming up in February with the AI conference is coming. With Alicia Little, Meta's coming, Google's coming back. Canvas coming. So we teach it. We don't just talk about it, we teach it.
Lots of resources. Thank you all for sharing your experiences. As said before, these folks are going to be available for a little while at least. We'll have a little break. Thank you for sharing your information. Please join me in thanking them.